Fellow marchers, would you pray with me? O holy God, take our lips and speak with them. Take our minds and think with them. Take our hands and work with them. Take our feet and help us march. Take our hearts and set them on fire with love for you and all of creation. Amen. Thy justice like mountains high soaring above, thy clouds which are fountains of goodness and love. Let's keep our gaze on those mountains. Because friends, what a mess. It has been a messy week. It has been a brutal week, regardless of how you voted in November. There have been some demoralizing and enraging choices made this week. All kinds of evil. Our new administration, our government tasked with working on behalf of people, seems to have made decisions which make it worse for the majority of people and better for the slim, ultra-rich, and privileged. A ban on refugees. A total ban on people coming from 7 majority Muslim countries. Justifying torture and waterboarding. Building a wall, tripling ICE. Friends, the list goes on, saying that pipelines are justified and needed. Declaring war on reproductive rights. Perpetuating lies of voter registration fraud. I don't want to re-traumatize ourselves in listing these things, but the truth needs to be told, and the church needs to be part of the truth-telling in our world. I wonder each week, maybe there's a way that we fit this in to our worship in these days. I keep thinking back to that mock cover article the Boston Globe made in April of 2016 that showed Donald Trump becoming president with headlines like "Deportations begin, Muslims are banned, ICE enforcement is tripled." It's a sobering and chilling reality to see these things actually take place this past week. The door being slammed shut on people fleeing persecution. Visitors, people who hold green cards, legal permanent residents locked up in airports right now. Becky and I have a dear friend from Iran who is traveling today in an airplane with a child Rowan's age, a good friend of Rowan. And we don't know if she'll get let out of an airport. Friends, this is not the world that we are called to live into. This is not the faith that we follow that excludes. It's been a mind-blowing and boggling week. And if you're anything similar to the way I felt this week, it's been hard to focus, to know where to lean, to know what to do, to know which petitions to sign, which legislators to call, which friends to reach out to in this week. Inboxes are full, and hearts have been heavy. So this morning, we crave the mountain. We crave a word from Matthew and Micah to elevate us, to lift us in some way, and perhaps to help us rise up. As both of these serendipitously lectionary given texts to us bring us to the mountain. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him, they began to speak, and he taught them. From those heights, Jesus there unfurls the central tenets of the gospel message as told through Matthew. This sermon preached on that mountain is the first recorded public act by Jesus as told by Matthew, and serves as one to crystallize Jesus as teacher. It also makes it crystal clear from the mouth of Jesus who receives divine blessing, who receives God's sanction, God's affirmation, that which is most true and authentic and honored in the eyes of God. These Beatitudes, the message that they bring forth, come as a stark contrast to the messages coming in executive orders this past week. It couldn't be more dramatic, perhaps even more dramatic than the wild difference in numbers of people gathered on the Mall in D.C. on Inauguration Day and the many more gathered the next day for the Women's March. I couldn't resist sharing that image. Jesus climbs the mountain and teaches, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the commonwealth of heaven." I think that's all we need to hear. We could stop there and read this over and over again this day, and I commend these texts to us throughout this week. They come as balm and they come as challenge. Notice how Jesus in these words seems to go way out of the way to make it clear who is afforded blessings in the commonwealth of God. Not the rich and the powerful, but the poor, the hungry, the thirsty, the meek, the mourning, the so-called lowliest of the world. To these, there is blessing. And of course, this blessing made by Jesus on that mountaintop comes as highly countercultural. For the word used here in Greek is makarios, and that word is only associated with referring to the gods, to the powerful, to the elite of the Roman Empire days. God blessed you in those days if you had money, if you had power and privilege. Jesus flips this idea on its head. Blessed are the refugee fleeing Syria, detained by accustomed officials. Blessed are the waters threatened again by greedy pipeline expansion. Blessed here also means honored, affirmed, legitimized, true. Our newest confession in the Book of Confession that arose out of the apartheid era South Africa, which was read yesterday at our Presbyterian meeting, says a great deal about race, the Confession of Belhar. It also lifts up these Beatitudes in a reconfigured way. It says, God, in a world full of injustice and enmity, is in a special way the God of the destitute, the poor, and the wronged. God is the God of the wronged. God is not the God of the powerful. God is the God of those receiving any political policy that oppresses, alienates, or maligns. I find that deeply refreshing this day. Reverend Denise Anderson, the current co-moderator of the PCUSA General Assembly, writes, "I celebrate a God who is not daunted by our lowliness, but puts on that lowliness personally. This God is born to a teenage commoner from royal stock, but with no royal trappings. This God takes up the work of a craftsman with all its calloused, hard days and bodily strains. This God is among us, healing the untouchable, supping with sinners, and teaching the masses. This God is not afraid of messiness or high maintenance. This God dwells right with us in the midst of our brokenness, undaunted by our lack of polish. And because this God dares to draw near to us, we are counted as blessed." God calls each of us blessed, and God shows up in the mess with us. We remember Mary's word, God scattered the proud in their thoughts. God brought down the powerful from their throne and lifted up the lowly. God has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. These words may sound justifying or clinging to certain parts of our scripture this morning, but if we read our canons and our narratives, we will hear them over and over again. So if these are the things we confess in our confessions and our scriptures, how might that inform us in the light of this week? Friends, we are people of faith, and therefore we need, of course, to be in the places of blessing. We need to be in the mess. We need to be in the places where people are mourning, including ourselves. We need to be there not only to experience these things for ourselves and open ourselves to the ways of Jesus' compassion, but also to sense the presence of God. We hear about mountains today. Mountains in the biblical narrative often refer to God's presence in unique ways. From Mount Sinai to the Sermon on the Mount, these are places where people lift up their eyes to ask, where does my help come from? My help comes from you, maker of heaven, creator of the earth. The psalmist reminds us that these are the places, the mountaintop experiences, which require hard climbing to experience the presence of God in our world. And we hear that from Micah this morning. Hear what God says. Rise, plead your case before the mountains, and let the hills hear your voice. Rise and shout it out. This is the invitation for us, a people of faith. Let them hear your voice. Shout it out, your grievances. Shout it out, that which concerns you. Shout it out as you enter God's presence. Last Saturday, history was made as 4.7 million women, children, and accomplices marched globally in solidarity with the Women's March on Washington. And these voices were heard around our planet. And that changed things, regardless of what has come forth this past week. In the spirit of Dr. King, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. People rose up and let their voices be heard on the mountaintop. I did not know that the Boston Common had any elevation until on this past Saturday I saw a beautiful sea of hand-knit pink pussycat hatted wearing people covering the hill there in the center of our common. Some 175,000 people peacefully gathering. There was no trauma or violence recorded that day around our world, friends. That means something. That gives us hope. Listen, I can't keep quiet. If you haven't seen that YouTube video by Milk, a performer from LA, I encourage you to see it. It's on our list of resources at the back. You will be moved by this new hymn, Listen, I Can't Keep Quiet. The mountains don't want us to be quiet in these days. I'm humbled and grateful that we as a church were able to provide some sanctuary in connection to that wider movement. And I think, again, that is one thing we are called to do in these days. We're given the gift of this incredible shell that's being stewarded so well. We need to give that gift over to the movements of peace, to create spaces where people can pray and talk and share openly about why they're marching. We heard from some incredible women gathered on that Saturday morning in prayer. Some who said, I'm 70 years old and I've never been in a protest my whole life. I didn't think my faith called me to that. And I am here today because I cannot remain silent. We provided as a church a space for those voices to feel welcomed and not judged, and to be welcomed into a wider walk in the spirit of walking humbly with God. And I pray that we would be able to continue to do so. We are given so many resources being here in the center of downtown Boston. We'll have a chance to continue that march today if we are led to join in that Boston protest against Muslim ban and anti-immigration orders in Copley Square. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messengers who announce peace and who bring good news, Isaiah declares. We march with that good news, for the truth matters, especially in times like these. We remember the immediate context of the Beatitudes. Right before this, we heard of John the Baptist and Jesus calling people to repent, to turn around, to do something new, and to walk boldly in a different direction. And these words on the top of that mountain in the Galilee must have come as a shock and a surprise to those gathered. We need to listen in new ways to the voices of God, calling us to be the church, to be part of the great ends of the church, which one of them is the preservation of the truth in the midst of the world. We are not keepers of a monopoly on the truth. As the church, we are tellers of the truth, and we pray that we have the courage to do so in these days. Like any good mountain climb, this is going to be a long haul. So friends, part of our call is to make sure we are well prepared and have lots of water and snacks in our backpack as we hike along. We need lots of love. We need to extend extra patience and humor to one another, lots of hugs, lots of kindness to make it through. Many of you emailed this week. I heard from many of you saying, what can we do in the midst of this? Including last night, lots of emails back and forth and Facebook posts. What are we to do in the midst of these executive decisions? So we have strategies, we have handouts. We'll create vigils, we'll share resources with one another, but we'll also strive to listen across difference. We cannot remain anymore in silos of sanctuary of people that think only like ourselves or look only like ourselves. We need to look out for the differences God calls us to see in our world. And so the question may not just be, what can we do, but what can we be? And today our Beatitudes remind us that we are called to be blessed. People who understand themselves as blessed in humility, not in judging others, but to recognize that we carry with us reflection of the very God who creates us. God is the God of the wronged. God is in the mess. We need to be in the mess. We are blessed to be in the mess, but we need to make sure that we don't get messy in the process. We need to take care of ourselves. There's some great emails being passed around, how to stay outraged without losing your mind. Christine, I believe you sent that to some of us. It's important at times, friends, to unplug from the news. It's important to find some quiet time with our scripture, to light a candle, to call a friend, to ignore the wider world. There will be plenty of times and places for us to join the marches. But we need to take good care of ourselves. This past week, my family has been hit with the flu, Becky and Rowan both, and in God's grace, I was not, so I was able to care for them, but that reoriented my priorities. There was only so many emails and petitions I could respond to, or phone calls or visits with you this week. I had to cancel some to be present in the midst of those who needed the most care. We need to do the same. We need to look after ourselves, drink lots of water, and we need to remember that God blesses us to be in the mess, but God is in the mess with us. And so finally we return back to the mountain climbing Micah, that so-called minor prophet in the Hebrew Scriptures, a minor prophet with a major message given during some very messy times in Judah. We recall that he prophesied during the reigns of 3 different kings, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah in Judah. And God gave Micah messages of a future destruction of Jerusalem because of the leaders and the people's dishonesty and adultery. He was calling out corruption in the government. He was specifically calling out a city that was doomed because of the beautification projects it was engaged in, which were financed by dishonest business practices. This was the Micah that leads to the verses we know so well. Micah is able to give these verses out because Micah recognizes that God is more powerful than King Jotham, Ahaz, or Hezekiah. God is more powerful than corruption. God is in the mess, but God is also more powerful than those who create the mess. You have heard, O mortal, what is good and what does God require of you, but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with God. To be in God's presence, it doesn't require burnt sacrifices, thousands of rams, 10,000 rivers of oil. One does not need to sacrifice their firstborn. One does not have to earn one's salvation by marching. It is far more simple. We know what to do. Justice, kindness, humility. We will sing next in our worship a hymn from our hymnal, What Does the Lord Require? In it, the second verse says, Rulers of earth, give ear. Should you not justice know? Will God your pleading hear while crying and cruelty grow. Let us remind our leaders, as well as ourselves, that it's simple. Justice, kindness, humility, and God is with us in all of this. Thank you, Julian of Norwich. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. Let's hike this mountain together. Check on each other's backpacks along the way. For friends, in Christ, we are all blessed.